first of all. My name's Kristen Langford. I am a pre-K teacher in Florida. For those of you that are new here, for those of you that have been around, thanks for watching and welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about centers, and there's going to be talking about things I've done in the past, things I've done now, how I'm running it, what it looks like, what the kids see, what the teachers do, all those things. But I do want to start off by saying that there are so many ways to do learning centers, and when I came to pre-K, I tried a couple different versions, and I just had to figure out what fit best for the students that I'm working with, because it depends on your group as well, what's gonna work for them, but also what works for me as a teacher. And I am a very structured teacher. Like, when things get a little crazy, I get crazy and I get overwhelmed, and then it's just like a recipe for disaster. So my centers are extremely structured, and I give a little bit of wiggle room here and there, but like, that's just what works for me. That's what works for my students. I probably train them too much to be structured, but it is what it is. That's just what works for me. Fun little story about why I'm structured is my very first internship, like college days, I was in a kindergarten classroom, and I loved my cooperating teacher because she let me learn the hard way. I was doing a lesson just for her, not even for like an observation or anything, and it was like an arts and craft lesson. And so we had all of our pieces out, and we had our glue and all of that, and I was not a structured teacher at that point. I was brand new. I had no idea what I was doing. And so I just remember that, I don't even remember what the craft was, but it kind of like got crazy. I mean, I wasn't very explicit, and like, first you grab your glue stick. All right, everybody open your glue stick. Everybody pick up this colored paper, put it in the air. Like, these are things I do now. I didn't know any of that. So I was just trying to teach them what to do, and it was like chaos, and all the kids didn't know what to do, and these kids are gluing this, and these kids were like, my glue is not open. It was a lot. And my cooperating teacher, she let it happen in chaos, and just like, but she wasn't judgy about it. She kind of stepped in afterwards and was like, okay, what do you think? Whatever. And then gave me some ideas. And then I was able to like do the craft the next week with her help and her guidance and her ideas. And so I feel like that is why I am the teacher that I am today, is that little mini lesson of chaos. And it was just, whoa. So the reason I bring that up is because centers can be chaotic if you are not structured in it, and then it just gets overwhelming for the kids, and there's just so many parts that they don't know. They don't do centers at home. Like, it's not something that they play at home when they play with blocks. They don't rotate, they don't follow directions and sit in one area and know where the supplies are and all that. That's not something they've ever practiced before. So with all that being said, the way that I do my center, I have the tables that are in my room that the kids sit at anyways, and I don't have the supplies just like out for them to get. That is one version of centers. Like, you could have an alphabet center, and you could have a whole shelf full of alphabet activities, and the kids could just pull their alphabet activities and play with whatever's there. I don't do that. How it works is like, I plan the actual activity, and then Miss Sam, while I'm teaching whole group, Miss Sam puts the activity on the table. So when I say, okay, go to the alphabet center, they go to that same table, and then the activity is already on the table, and the teacher is there to explain the activity. So I hope this is clear. I'm like, I know centers can be just like, wow, just crazy, you know, but I just want to be clear that like, my activities are planned with a purpose for each group, and that the kids aren't really in charge of grabbing the materials. Because if your kids are in charge of grabbing the materials, that's a whole procedure that you need to teach them. So anyways, so we're on the rug for our whole group time, and then the slide comes up. This is what the slide looks like, and it has the visuals of what the groups are, and it has their name under it. Eventually, they're gonna be able to recognize their name and recognize what the picture is and where to go, but right now we're not there yet. That's okay. So I'll just go down the list. I'll say, oh, this is the teacher table. These are the names that need to go to my table. And then they come and they sit at my table. And we have these like spinny chairs, and I let them, you can spin until Miss Langford's ready to come to the table, and they don't touch the materials, and they just sit there. It's okay. They can wait. They're fine. And then I go to the next one, which is like the computer, and I call out the kids and I send them over, and the computers are already set up for them because Miss Sam or Miss Whitney pulled those computers out. We have like a laptop cart instead of like a computer area set up all the time, which that might change, we don't really know yet. And so the laptops are already open, they're already logged in, they have the game up, and then they sit down and they start playing. They got that center all on their own. Obviously that took some practice. We had to do some whole group teaching of how to use the computer. And then the next center is Miss Sam's group. So hers is always the green table, table 3, and I'll say their names and I say, go to Miss Sam's table, and Miss Sam is already there, and they sit down and she starts explaining the activity while they're there. And then the last center is Miss Whitney's center, and same thing, she's already at the table. They go to that table. So that is like my math learning centers. These are different than my social centers. This is all actual learning activities, and it's still fun, but it's like academic, it has a purpose, it has a standard that goes with the academic standards, not social centers with social centers and interaction and playing and things like that. So once they're all at the table, then we all work. And ideally we try to go for 10 to 15 minutes, but I read the room. I read the groups, I read my group, I'm like, okay, how are we doing? I look over at Miss Sam, I look over at Miss Whitney, see how their group's doing. Are they getting bored? Is the activity too fast for them? You know, computer is always good to go. They could stay there for hours. And so then, you know, it's not a set time frame. When I taught first grade, it was like, start the bell, 10 minutes, clean up, transition, you know? But in here, I read the room. It's just the way it is. It's either 10 minutes or 15 minutes, depending on how we're handling it and what the exact activity is. Also during that time, my paras know that like, if any of their kids are getting a little antsy, we go outside right after. So they'll be like, oh, go to the bathroom, you know? And so that kid can be released from the group because, you know, maybe they've already done the activity and they're ready to go. And she can be rotating through the bathroom while the other kids are still working. The other thing that a lot of people ask is like, then what? You know, they're at the group and do they rotate to another one? Not for math. So they're all at their centers, and we'll do the bathroom here and there, and then we ring the bell to clean up. And what cleanup means for my centers is help the teacher that you're at clean up the materials, and then the teacher will put the materials back, because we keep our materials behind my table. They're not accessible, like I said, to the students unless they're on the table. So they clean up the table. The teacher who is directing that group sends them to the rug, and that's where they wait for the next direction. The rug is our waiting spot, because if you don't have a spot for them to go to when they are finished, they're just gonna walk around and maybe try to help this group, and then it just gets chaotic. So like, they're with the teacher, they're cleaning up that activity, and they sit on the rug. And the kids that are using the bathroom, they go to the bathroom, they come back to the rug. That's our signal that like, okay, we're ready. And on the rug, they're allowed to talk quietly to their friends. They still sit nicely. Like, it's, as long as you keep those procedures in place, like they can handle it. Okay, I hope that helps. Before I move on to literacy, I'm gonna show you a couple things about math. Okay, so I've shown this a couple times, but back here, this is my activities for math and literacy. I keep all those activities in here, and Miss Sam and Miss Whitney know which ones are math and which ones are reading, so they pull out the materials that are needed, and we have this discussion. So then this would be Miss Sam's bucket, Miss Whitney's button, and then our bucket, and then this one is like, if I have materials ready for next week, I put that there. And this I'm just using for my data binders, so, you know. Somebody also asked where I got this from. These bins are actually from Target. I liked the colors from last year, but this came from Lakeshore, and it had different color bins in it, and it just holds them, but you don't even need that. These can actually connect together. Okay, so you might see some of this stuff displayed double in my weekly vlog, but I'm gonna go through the activities that we did in math this week, and we only need one activity per bucket for the whole week, and I just do it that way, and I differentiate it depending on what my group is. So for my math group, we did a pick the apple activity. For Miss Sam's math group, she did different activities. She did a clip and count of apple cores. This one was a matching number behind it where you put pom-poms. And then this is you can't really see it obviously, but another version of clip and count. So it's just like lots of activities, and each kid had a different activity and they got to rotate it through. The reason it was so many activities is because these are fast activities, and we have a lot of apple things, so we were able to use them. And then for Miss Whitney's group, we made these last year. They're like little puzzles, apple puzzles with Velcro to put the number order. And then we also had an Apple Lakeshore game. So like I said, These stay the same for the whole week. It just depends on which group I have. So I also wanted to show you this. So this is my Math Center slide that I had put up earlier in the video, but this is like a closer look. And each of my students are here. So this group right here, this with Anderson, he starts out at this teacher time on Monday. So Monday, his group is at my table. Then on Tuesday, his group is on the computer. On Wednesday, his group is in, this is Miss Sam's group, she does the games, okay? Then on Thursday, day 4, his group will be at seat work, which is usually an activity with Miss Whitney. When he was on my group on Monday, he did the pick the apples. When he went to computers, he played on the computer. Day 3, when he went to Miss Sam, he did these activities. And then day 4, when he went to Miss Whitney, he did these activities. So that's kind of like following through the kid. He only does one center for the time frame of 15 minutes, and then we move on to the next part of our day, which is a bathroom break, and we watch the morning show. Now the fun part. Now I want to talk about my literacy centers. So I think I was already clear in the beginning, but just to be clear, this is not social centers. There are ways where you can run your literacy centers in your small group, like just for you, during play social centers like kitchen and puzzles and sensory and all that. That just doesn't work for me as a teacher. That doesn't mean it's the right way or the wrong way. It just didn't work for me. I did try that. I tried to have them play and like pull my small group only, and it just, they weren't interested. They didn't want to do what I was doing, no matter how fun I made it. They wanted to play in kitchen. They worked all day. They want to go to kitchen, you know? And then I wasn't able to work on those social skills during social centers because I was trying to do academic skills during social centers. So it just didn't work for me. It might work for you. I suggest you try out different things to decide. But back to literacy groups. So same concept with my literacy group. The time frame is 30 minutes because we're going to do 2 rotations in that 30-minute block. I'm gonna do a 15-minute rotation, more like a 10, clean up. We go to the rug. The activities, it's the same thing for cleanup. When they hear the bell, the cleanup bell, they clean up the materials that were already on their table because my paras, Miss Sam and Miss Whitney, put the materials out already, okay? So they clean them up in the middle of the table, push in their chairs, and then go to the rug. Today, we did try to like stand behind our chair, but it didn't work. I did that in 1st grade and it worked well. In here, I feel like the carpet is just our great transition. So I'm gonna go back to that tomorrow. We're gonna scratch that, didn't work. They're gonna clean up, they're gonna sit on the rug. I'm gonna go to my next slide, which I'll show you, and then tell them where they go next, okay? It sounds a little confusing. I don't know the best way to show you guys this, so I really hope it's helping you guys. So for literacy centers, let's follow our friend Anderson again, right? On Monday of literacy centers, Anderson is going to go to 2 centers. He's going to go to the teacher table, and then he's going to go to computer. So teacher table, clean up, sit on the rug. Everybody sits on the rug. Rotation 2, he's going to go to computers, then he's going to hear the bell, he's going to clean up computers, and he's going to go back to the rug, and then we're moving on with our day. Okay? Then on Tuesday, our friend Anderson is going to go to our group game with Miss Sam for his 1st rotation. After that, on the same day, on Tuesday, he's going to go to Miss Whitney's table for the fine motor or writing group. Okay, so now on Monday and Tuesday, he went to all the rotations. Then on Wednesday, he's gonna start back over and he's gonna come to the teacher table. And then he's going to go to computer. And then on Thursday, he's going to go to Miss Sam's group, and then he's gonna go to Miss Whitney's group. And then we are done with our centers. I feel like following a kid around is a little helpful. I'll show you the slide as well. So when I'm planning my lessons, how I do that is for math, I plan 1 activity for each of the 3 groups. 1 for me, 1 for Miss Sam, 1 for Miss Whitney. For literacy, I plan 2 activities. I plan 2 for my table, for the beginning of the week and the end of the week, 2 for Miss Sam for the beginning of the week and the end of the week, and 2 for Miss Whitney, the beginning and the end. And to make this easier on me, since the letter of the week now finally, you're gonna see that my activities are structured to where it's gonna be the same thing, just a different letter. That sounds crazy. Let me show you. Now, my math is out of the way, now my literacy. Our rotation, I don't even know how to say this, Monday, Tuesday, for all 4 groups, I worked on this syllable activity. So I did that with every single group on Monday and Tuesday. Then my second activity that I planned is actually still on my table. I had matching Apple letter cards, and I also had these that are in my Apple product, I'll link it down below, where they had to flip over a letter card and then they put the little circle to match the letter on the tree. So it was like a flip and cover activity. Then for Miss Sam on our rotation, she's going to do the letter of the week craft. So instead of doing this whole group, we put it into a small group for her. And look at all those alligators, so cute. So every Monday and Tuesday, she's doing the letter of the week activity. And then every Wednesday, Thursday, she is going to do our letter, there we go, our letter worksheet. I made this so long ago. I feel like it's been like 5 years ago. I don't know. But instead of the little letter flip book we used to do, we're doing this instead. So every group is doing this. They trace it, they find it, they connect the dots, they're tracing it again, they're finding the letters, they're coloring the picture. So just a couple activities to do about the letter. So every week, those are her 2 activities. Monday, Tuesday, the craft. Wednesday, Thursday, the worksheet. For Miss Whitney, we're gonna do a fine motor type of activity with the letter or activity, whatever it is. So on Monday, Tuesday, she did shaving cream and they wrote the letter A and they just like played with it and they drew pictures of things that start with A, things like that. Then Wednesday, Thursday, she did the fine motor book. And today, they've done zigzag circles. They've done, oops, skipped a page. They do slants. And then they've drawn a picture on Friday when we do our writing about what makes them happy. Done some circles, another picture. And then today, this is what they did. They did curves to kind of get going, different shapes of curves, right? And if they had extra time, they talked about their favorite Apple food and drew a picture of it. All right, the slides for that are this. So literacy centers, 1 rotation. This would be like Monday, right? So Monday, here's our friend Anderson. He's gonna go to teacher table first, clean up, and then he's gonna move over to computer for rotation 2. On the next day, I don't have it on this slide, but on the next day, Anderson will be at the writing table first, and then he will go to the alphabet table second. And then we'll start back over and he'll go teacher table, computers, next day, writing, alphabet. Okay, that was a lot. I've tried to organize it as best as possible. I feel like I'm kind of rambling. You kind of have to live it to do it, I guess. But the big takeaways are, do what works for you and your students. I'm super structured. That's just what works for me. That doesn't work for everyone. That's just what works for me, and I need to keep my sanity. So we are super structured. We had a bigger time block this year, so we were able to do 2 rotations. If 2 rotations don't work for you for literacy, just do it just like math. Do 1 center of small group and then move on with your day. Try to keep the activities that, like for your paras and stuff, something that's repetitive and they've done it before, because the kids will get to know, like, oh, when I go with Miss Sam during small group time, I'm always gonna do my letter craft. I know what to expect. My table fluctuates big time because I'm the teacher, I'm working with what the students need, I'm working with their levels of learning at the time, all those things. Like Miss Whitney and Miss Sam do not need to do that. They can even, if you want to make their centers play, like, okay, we can go with, Miss Whitney, you're gonna do sensory buckets, like that's okay. The most important is your group. Like you need to provide the instruction for your group. So I hope that helps. It's not, you can't just start it right away. It is a process. You have to have a lot of patience when you're like introducing them into it. But once you get those routines in place and they know how to clean up, they know where to go when they're done cleaning up, they know which table. We're still working on the table thing. Like every time Miss Sam's table is the green table 3, but I have to say it every time. Like they still don't quite get that concept, like, oh, my name's there, I go to this table. So that's okay. We're still in the beginning of the year, but eventually it's gonna be a well-oiled machine. They'll be able to even look at the visual and know where to go. So that's the goal. But if you like this video, don't forget to give it that big thumbs up, click that subscribe button and that notification bell. And I'm hoping to give you 2 videos this week, this center one and also my weekly vlog. I also have to give you a tour of our apple orchard, but I might just throw that one into my weekly vlog because I don't know. I'm just surviving here, but thanks for watching. See you guys soon. Bye.